Hello, it's Afro-Sam, and we're doing another Escape from Tarkov video today. It's been a while, but I thought I'd get back into things with a pretty simple one here. I've had a request actually from someone on my Discord, and the request was a pretty simple one. This person basically wanted to know which areas of the maps are hot and which areas of the maps are cold. So which areas of the maps are areas where you really need to be very careful and be aware for other players, and which areas of the map are areas where you can feel a bit safer, but a bit less concerned and a bit less panicky, or where you should maybe go to try and hide if you need to get medicated and that sort of thing. So starting off from where we've spawned here, there's a few spots I want to sort of point out straight away if you're playing Reserve. Now, with Reserve, the main point you obviously want to keep an eye on all times, or not at all times, but you want to check up on, is the tower up here. Now, from a lot of places in the map, the tower is visible, and from a lot of places in the map, you are visible from the tower. So let's have a look at the tower first of all and see what we should look out for. So if we're looking at the tower from here, it's not super easy to see because of the fog, but generally, you want to look across the top here, because there can be players set up here, across these rails here, and there are windows as well, which we can't really make out from here. Here, and here there are windows. As well as that, slightly to the side of the tower is the mountain. So there's these rocks here that sort of surround the tower complex. These rocks here can be another spot where players like to sit. Difficult to see today because of the fog, but alas. Another spot you need to be aware of when you're playing Reserve is these guard towers. Now there are a few of these dotted around the map. As you can see, there's one there, and one down there, and also one even further down there. These towers are pretty common places for snipers or players who are trying to snipe to sit in, and you should definitely be aware of those when moving around the map. If you've just spawned, if it's the very, very start of a raid, the places you really want to focus on, as opposed to being the centre of the map, are going to be the parts where other players have spawned. So that's the fields around these buildings, or the fields out in the distance past the train station, or potentially up on the mountain as well. You sort of generally in Reserve, you spawn around the outside of it. There are a few exceptions to this rule, in that you can spawn occasionally over here, behind the helicopter, in the sort of garden area here between the two apartment buildings, or two office buildings. You can spawn there. You can also spawn out in the fields here, which are pretty close to the buildings, but generally, people you want to be concerned about are going to be the ones on the edge of the map, because they're going to be doing the same thing as you. A few tips for when you're moving around on Reserve. Say you need to do this run that we're doing right here now. You need to go from this corner here to this corner here for whatever reason. The better way of doing this would not be to run out in the open like this. The better way to do it is to use the bushes to your advantage. So a lot of the edges of areas on Reserve have these bushes around them, and they're really useful for moving between locations without being seen, or at least moving between locations while obscuring yourself. So if I'm running down here like this, I'm still pretty obvious to someone in front of me, sure, but if there's someone, say, to my side, over here, they're going to have a much harder time, getting a shot on me accurately and being able to follow me consistently through these bushes, just because I'm obscured by them. My outline is obscured. Another hot area you really do need to keep an eye on is this area here. Now this is where the hermetic door switches, which turns on the siren. I'll show you. It's this switch here. I'm not going to do it because it's very loud. But when you hear the siren starting, if you hear the siren start, look towards this building, because someone will have run out of it a second or so earlier than the siren starting, and it may give you a chance to get a good shot on them. Or it may give you at least an idea of where that person is, so you can keep an eye on them and avoid them or kill them depending on what it is you want to do. Now the main buildings that I would say are the important ones to keep an eye around the helicopter are, well, I suppose the helicopter itself, although that's not really a building. There's 3 loot boxes in there, 3 weapons cases. In this building here, which me and my friends call the loot building, which isn't a very good name for it, but it's let's call it the Black Bishop. It's the one to the front of the helicopter. This is probably one of the most popular buildings in the map. People flock to this place, and they mainly do it for this room here. What people do is they go up to the top floor, they jump out through this window, which is in the room where the satellite dish is on the right. They jump out of this, they land on this on here, they go into this door here, and they will try and loot all the electronics that spawn in this room here. If you want to camp this, it's a really good place to camp for killing players. Is obviously you just sit in the building opposite, in one of these windows up here. You can shoot across at this building and get quite a few kills there on these people. A lot of people will come here, and a lot of people will fight each other around this area. So this building here is a pretty dangerous one to go into. If you are trying to avoid conflict, I would avoid this building. And also, if you want to avoid conflict, I would avoid the basement and the lower floors of this building here, which is the Black Pawn. We go into the Black Pawn here, and we take these stairs down here. We come to an area with 2 rooms that require keys to open. One of them being this one here, which is the marked room on Reserve. So it's a very popular area. And then down here, we've also got one of the armories. Again, these 2 keys are very popular keys, so it's a very busy area. If you really want to avoid conflict when moving between these buildings, what I would suggest is that you, instead of going through them, you just run around the back of them. So, for example, say we've started off over here, the Black Bishop building, or the building to the front of the helicopter. Say you're in here, and you've had a big firefight with someone, and you want to move towards your extraction. Say you're extracting at the tower, or if you wanted to go to the manhole, this will work as well. You want to generally avoid going out in the open. So this area of the map, I very rarely ever set foot in it. Instead, I would go out through here, jump through this window by crouch jumping, which is to jump and then mash crouch, and then push around the edge here, and possibly go through the building if I'm feeling confident, or if not, just skirt around the edge here. Now generally when you're moving past these office buildings, if you're quick enough, even if there is someone in these windows, it's unlikely they'll get a headshot on you as you run past, simply because your head's only going to be in that window for about a second. The tunnels inside it. Now the tunnels are probably one of the biggest tips I can give for Observe. The tunnels are very, very, well, in my experience, a very rarely traveled building. Head down into the basement through this door here. This door here. Down into the tunnels. You want to turn left and go all the way to the end. And down here will lead you to the tunnel. The tunnels are, weirdly, I find quite a safe route. For some reason they are not that well travelled. I don't really often run into firefights there. I'd say maybe on this patch, of the 100 or so times I've run through tunnels, I've been in firefights on maybe 5 of them down there. There really are not that many people that go down there. Another busy spot you want to keep an eye on, I'll show you guys this one. This is the place people like to sit, is up on this end of the mountain here. Now this area here is quite nice because you've got a long view over towards that building. You can also see the roofs and then through the windows there. Another spot is over here. Again, it's not as great of an angle, but if you're on the roof, this is possibly where someone's going to be. But possibly the best angle from up here is on this rock, because you've got views of both roofs. You have to move around a little bit, but you do have views of both roofs. You've got views in through the windows here. You've got a view down to this building here. Again, they're not perfect, but if you move around a little bit, you can get a good shot from there. If you move across to here, you've got a much better view of this building and, you know, different angles across the map. This area is fairly common to find people here sniping. Not the most common, but it's a pretty common spot, and it's always worth checking or being cautious. If you're ever running up the mountain in this sort of area where I am at the moment, this area around here, I would always be careful. Never hang around here unless you are, you know, doing sniping or something, because people like to hide here. Okay, so this is the spot where you want to check as well when you're looking up at the tower. We started off this video over here, so we started off. Now this rock here is a really common spot for people to sit on. They'll just sit up here like this, and they can cover the night buildings, cover the Queen building, they can cover their buildings around the helicopter. They've got a pretty good view of most of the map. They can even shoot over to the train station if they want to. Definitely check this one if you're coming up towards this sort of area. So when you come out of this door here, which is where you come out from the tunnels, you've got a lot of spots to check. So it makes it a very difficult thing to do when you come out of this here if you think there's someone around. Because there could be someone here, people will often sit here or there, or maybe they even sit in this corner here, even between these two buildings here. It's a very difficult angle to come out from there. What me and my friends personally do is to avoid, you know, all those angles I've just mentioned you're going to have to check, but to avoid some more angles, such as this window here, someone sitting up there, any of these windows here, possibly someone sitting on this bit. So there's a lot of places, as you can see, where people can sit. What we do instead is when we come out of the towers, when we come out of the tunnels I should say, we pop painkillers before we come up these stairs. We get to the top here and we turn left. And when you run through the building, it's fantastic because you can check a few spots. As people often camp here, you can check that. People often camp in these windows here. You can come at them from behind or just confuse them a little bit. And if there is someone sort of up this end here, if there is someone around here camping, you've got a much better angle to approach them from here and a much better route to run away if you do get into a fight with them. And people do like to sit up here. It's always worth checking it, you know, no matter where you are on the map, every now and then have a little glance up at the tower just to make sure, you know, there's not some bastard up here. One thing I would suggest if you do play Reserve quite a lot is come up to the tower here every now and then, or maybe just once or twice, and just have a look and see what angles can be seen from the tower up here. For example, if you're in this building here and you're being sniped from the tower, really fantastic way of avoiding it. Jump out this window here like I showed you earlier, run around here, run around the back of this building, then run through the front of this end of the building, across here into the building with the tunnel in the bottom, and you've pretty much covered the entire way from the sniper tower. And you can have a much fairer fight with a sniper after doing that. It's a bit of a long video this one, I realise, but it's sort of, I wanted to sort of explain the hot areas, as I said, the busy areas and the areas you need to look out for on Reserve, because otherwise it just takes you so long to learn the map, you know. If this video is 20 minutes long, that's probably quicker than you having to spend 20 hours learning the map, you know. One busy area that's weird is this one. For some reason, people flock to this, and this tank here. People really like to hang around that area. They also really like to hang around where I am right now, on these rocks. So if someone's doing a bit of sniping over towards the night buildings, over here, this is where they're probably going to be sat, on these rocks here. Doesn't have that great of an angle towards the helicopter, so people generally don't snipe that. But from here, they quite often will snipe at the, you know, the night buildings over here, possibly the garages here. So if you're being shot at in that area from a long way off, it's probably someone sat up here. Now if we head over here into the garage area where the night buildings are, a few spots to check around this area. I mean, I'm thinking actually, there aren't that many immediately obvious spots. People like to sit on the roof up here, in these windows as well. It's the same on the other building, on the roof or in the windows. Now if we head over here to the train station, this is an area of the map I really do try and avoid because it's so open. There are so many spots people could be sniping at you from, and the raiders spawn around here. So the raiders are the harder AIs, the PMC AIs, and they are pretty brutal. Generally I try and avoid this area of the map. People love this tower though. For some reason, people absolutely adore this tower. People just sit in there all day and snipe and take shots at the raiders and stuff, so be aware of this building. In the basement of that building there is a tunnel that leads underneath the map down here. There's like a sort of car park underneath. It can either come up over there, or you can come up through a different door through this little brick structure over here. Or alternatively, again, you can come up to this bunker here at the opposite end of it. Down there, you can come up there. Those tunnels are really useful, and I try and learn how they're laid out, just so that you can move around this area without being seen. Or if you do get shot at, move around, you know, between the areas and get an advantage. Or you can just basically move without having to present yourself straight out in the open. These station buildings, as I call them here, the sort of cargo station, the K buildings, as they're known sometimes. Pretty risky area. Generally, I do not hang around here much. If you're a scav, maybe it's worth hanging around here because other scavs do patrol this area. But generally, I try and avoid this. It's a very, very hot area. Let's have a look. This building as well, very hot area. A lot of people come through here. I would not hang around very long in there. If you're trying to camp in there, then I'd try and get a good position where you've got a nice corner, because a lot of the time you'll not even realize you're exposed from inside this building. So it's a weird one. Another good spot to know about is this here. This is where the extraction is for the hermetic door. So if you hear the siren going off, this is where you want to head. The light will be green. All you do is sit outside this door here and you'll extract with all your stuff, no problem. One thing to know though, if you are coming in here, is this door here. This can be closed. People can sit in here and hide, or they might sit in here and wait. So they might sit here and wait and you might run past them and you get shot in the arse. Definitely a spot to be aware of. You can run all the way through as well, to the other end of the bunker. But not really useful for what we're showing off here. I'm going to show you one final area of the map that is certainly super busy, especially at the start of raids. Let me have a think of anywhere else we've not covered. Generally the grass around the edge of the map, so that's this area around here, going all the way up here, that area down there behind the buildings around the helicopter. Generally they're not super busy except at the start of the rounds, just because that's where people have spawned, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't keep an eye on them. Sometimes people will sit out there and snipe, so definitely keep an eye out. The building that's the most busy in this area, though, that I always seem to get into a firefight if I come here at the start of the round, is this one here. Now, this building has the second mark room of the map and also an armory. So we open this door here. And there's an armory in here, which seems to have been nerfed recently. But if we move through the other bit of the building, we have this, which is the second mark room. Now, this is a very, very, very popular spot. You get here, and you get here first, loot that room, and just jump out the window and run away. Because someone will turn up after, 30 seconds or so, and you'll have a big firefight in the corridor, and you may lose it, or you'll get hurt and not be able to get out, so do avoid that if possible. And that's pretty much it, as far as I can think of Reserve. Generally with Reserve, I would try and not stay out in the open as much as you can. That's one thing I do really like about Reserve, is that there's so many options for moving between areas. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know. I may do more of these. It was a first time for me doing something like this. It's just a bit of a walk around, I suppose, showing off what I think about this map and what my general feelings about it are. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, do let me know. There'll be probably more Tarkov content coming soon, and there'll be definitely streaming coming soon. I'm just waiting to have the internet sorted out at my apartment where I live. I first moved in here and the internet was terrible, hasn't changed since. However, in March at some point, hopefully, I'm getting much, much better internet put in. Company is coming and sorting all that out, so hopefully, soon, back on streaming and back on YouTube more often. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, leave me a like, comment, that sort of stuff down below. Join the Discord if you want, obviously all suggestions and information that you want to share with me, or if you want to tell me something, jump on the Discord, pop it in the general chat, and we'll have a chat about it, no problem at all. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys, if you made it all the way through to the end, and I will see you in the next one.